Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Jimmy Nordberg from the Ontario Fury. We're excited to have everybody. It's been a long time since we've been able to get together and talk. We have some exciting news that we are excited to share with everybody and bring some clarity and let you guys know the future and the vision of what we plan for this tremendous organization and how we take this to the next level. I am joined here in the office with Seth Burham, Frank Tayu, Oscar Moda, and myself. And on this call, we have our managing partner, Jeff Burham, and loads of our front office staff and players. So this is going to be a platform after we explain to you kind of what our vision and our passion and our future is, and a platform for you to ask questions, to bring clarity, to see where we move going forward.
So on the call, this is Jeff Burham, by the way. I am affectionately referred to as the managing partner because I hate other kind of titles. And I want people to understand that are on this call before we get started that I was a Fury fan first. Most of you don't know that. I didn't start this franchise. A friend of mine, Bernie Lillois, did. He started it back in the 2014 era. I came because I've been a box holder at Citizens Business Bank Arena supporting the community since the day it opened back in 06. And when my kids grew up playing soccer, when the Ontario, at the time, Citizens Bank Arena put out their schedule, that year they had indoor professional soccer on it. Jeff Burham didn't really know anything about indoor professional soccer, but he became a fan, and so did my young kids at that time. By the way, you know, my son at the time was 14 and my daughter was 11. They fell in love with this team. They fell in love with the sport. They fell in love with the players. They fell in love with the heart of the players and the way they played this game that we'd never seen. They played it. They played, you know, they practiced, kids practiced. But we'd never seen it done at a professional level with the heart and soul these players put on that pitch every day. You know, and when that team at the end of the year, when I was wrapping up, I was personal friends with the guys that run the arena. And okay, are we back? I don't know how much when I got cut off by my team, but Greg, that must be my sign when my team says I'm talking too long. But anyway, I feel it's important from the start to tell you how this began. And I bought this team because a guy needed money and he thought that by lending him $250,000 that we'd save this franchise. And I didn't want to see this sport die because I saw what it was doing in my kids' eyes and their hearts. And so I lent, you know, that gentleman $250,000 to start this partnership to save this franchise. I was so embarrassed the first year when we were playing on a field that said Prudential Center on it that I said, you know what, I'll lend another $100,000 just so we don't, when we go to these games, I feel like we're a team. How can you play on someone else's turf? So I agreed to put up another $100,000 in order to be able to continue with this process. And so I will just tell you, it's not important how much money I have into this franchise at this point, but it's millions of dollars. And I do it for one reason. I do it for the love of the sport, for the fans, and what these kids mean in their lives, and trying to teach them to be not only young professional soccer players, but give them a life after soccer. Make them members of our community in Southern California. Make them a member of our empire. You know, it goes without anyone that really knows me in my life that I try to get up every day and do what I can that God's blessed me with what I have to make the world a better place for them. So these players, they know me, the ones that have been on this team. This coach knows me. The last thing I want to do was change the name of a team that I love and a name that I love. It's a culture we started to create here. But what you all don't know is we lost the rights to the trademark Fury because unfortunately, my partner never trademarked the team. And when he left during the pandemic 3 years ago, I brought in a professional team because I was never running it. I was just a financial backer. And so when he left the summer of the first pandemic, I took over, brought in people, and started doing what I do in all my businesses. I started trademarking. I started hiring people to come in the front office. And we found out through a dispute, long story short, this past spring, that someone else had filed for the name Fury in a professional sport in 1999. And this other team, I'm not going to go into, with a name that I barely know, most people don't even know they play anymore, has the senior rights. And so we couldn't use it. We still had challenges because, frankly, I think the Fury Youth Club, in order for us to be the franchise that I want us to be, we have to be a professional team to all local teams, not just ours. So that was never my idea in the first place. I always wanted to support youth soccer, but I wanted to do it by supporting all the clubs in our valley, not try to make one club feel they were more special than the others. I love the Fury kids. I love those kids that put that name on their chest as if there was a badge of honor to them, and we'll always continue to support and help them. But in the meantime, we had to go larger. So if we were going to do that, we had to figure out, I brought in Lisa Baird's on this call. Lisa, put her on in a second as I introduce her. Lisa Baird is one of the smartest females that's been running professional marketing in this country for the major corporations in this world, and a dear friend of mine that used to both run Ford, Allstate, and GM. She reported to. He was head of marketing for them all, and said, if you want to rebrand because of the name change, and my son came in and said, this is the only way to fix it. He started working with Lisa Baird in this presentation you're going through tonight. She is part architect of. And Lisa, why don't you give them a little of your background?
Hi, everybody. I spent a lot of time in corporate America, as Jeff had said, but like many of you, I'm a big sports fan, and I spent time at the National Football League, as well as in the Olympics, and got to know and love the beautiful game of soccer. Most recently, I was the commissioner of the National Women's Soccer League. So I have a lot of heart and soul for the game of soccer, and Jeff introduced me to indoor soccer, and I really agree. It's one of the most exciting formats of soccer I've seen. I've been working with Jeff and the team to walk them through this rebrand. It's a delicate thing. It's a tough thing to do because at the heart of it all is how the fans are going to support it. But I think they've thought through it very, very well. And I think we're just anxious to hear everybody's thoughts on it tonight, and move forward and give this team a brand that is really going to be permanent and really fit the team, its culture, and its style of play. And I think you will be really pleased when you see what is finally unveiled.
So with that being said, Jimmy, Seth, any of the guys on the call that want to speak up, let Seth know. Otherwise, I mean, frankly, this call's about the fans. This call's to give you an opportunity to ask us any questions you want. We have a PowerPoint we'd like to walk you through, but before of the survey that we did, but before we even start the survey, if some of you have some pertinent questions or any comments want to be made by our players or coaches or anyone else that's on the line, please let us know. Otherwise, we'll get started with the survey. But Greg, I always look for you for advice in moments like this, because you've been doing this gig a lot longer than I in this media game. Did we miss anything that we should cover before we get started with the fan survey?
Well, Jeff, the thing that's a shock to me is that the brand wasn't registered originally, and where you guys are at now is, I mean, it's an obvious turn that, you know, having to rebrand the team, and I'm just anxious to see where you've gone with it. I mean, I think this is pretty exciting news.
Well, obviously, like I said, Greg, I mean, listen. You and I root for two different teams, but I think we have the same soul for indoor professional soccer. And so, you know.
Well, my favorite team is always the other team on the field against the Sockers. So you guys have been my second favorite team many times. And then the other thing, of course, is that my heart goes to the game before it goes to any team. I mean, my biggest thing is that this sport continues going, continues growing. And what you're doing, Jeff, is just huge here in Southern California.
Well, I can tell you this. when we decided that we had to, because we had no legal choice and with the issues, I sat down with the smartest people I could pull in a room, Lisa Baird being one of them, and asked them for advice and what we would have to do. This is not a rebranding. People say Jeff's doing it because he wants to make more money and selling jerseys. We never made any real money selling a lot of jerseys, folks. I hate to tell you. I know, please forgive me because I know some of you spent that $30 or $50, whatever we charge for these things. But we'll give you a discount to get the new ones because Jeff Burham had to throw away about 2,000 different shirts and jerseys. I have the biggest Fury wardrobe, but this is my personal favorite. You know why this is my personal favorite, Greg? Greg? You see that?
Of course, yeah.
I love every one of these players that's on the call, but this is the only personal game one I've ever been given in my life by a great young man, as you know. When that season was over, he gave me his jersey, the one he wore all season. I got a lot of jerseys with other people's name. I can put any jersey on name, but when someone gives me theirs, breaks my heart. I'm still going to wear this jersey. This will never leave my closet. So with that, Seth, is there anyone else in queue?
We should be good.
All right. Why don't we start the PowerPoint presentation then? Seth, are you going to go?
All
You're
right.
good. You're good. You can go. Actually, you can talk on this one. You're good.
Okay, all right. We move on, set the next screen, please.
Okay.
So we did a survey that all of you, a lot of our fans filled out. So we'd like to share some of the findings of that survey. So how interested are the following teams? Or how interested are you in the following teams? Obviously, we share the market base with the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, the Ontario Reign, and the Ontario Clippers. It was great to see that the number one team was us, and everybody was interested in us. And
And you would hope that would be since we were polling mostly our fans, but
Right.
you need to see where your other core constituency is. So that's what was important in this. It shows you that the Reign and obviously the Quakes are our two most polarizing other teams recognized in the league over the Clippers.
when you think of iconic Inland Empire teams, which do you think of? Seemed like, we got good numbers on that. We were highly thought of, which is good. So again, people are thinking of us in a very good light, and we were happy to have the numbers we had there. How long have you been a Fury fan? 3 years plus, which shows loyalty. But then also we've got ones that are less than a year, so it shows that we're growing in our fan base, which is good. What style of play describes the Ontario Fury? So it shows that we're trying to get our culture through to our fans. It says fast attacking, which is our style and our goal. How long have you been in Ontario? How long have you been a fan of the Ontario Fury? Again, 3 years plus, and the season ticket holders. So that's good. And our season ticket holders shared the same things with our normal fans. So as you can see, from our season ticket holders to the fans, it's very close on how they see the game. So that was cool to see.
So, obviously, we've been trying to lead the league in a different style of play the last 3 years, which is kind of what I refer to in my basketball terminology growing up as like a full court press, where we're running the entire time. And so obviously our fans the last few years have seen that style of play, attacking, versus what I also refer to as the old pump and dump of indoor soccer. Sorry, Greg. Next.
would you be more likely or less likely to support the name change? I think this is interesting because our normal fans, it was a lot closer. Our season ticket holders actually seemed like they would be in choice of the name change for the franchise.
Well, I don't know if they're in choice of it, but we only gave them more likely or less likely. So, and that's intentional because we knew this was going to be controversial. Fans, nobody wants to see their name changed. I was a Washington Redskins fan as a child growing up. I was a Washington Senators fan. I still won't follow the Texas Rangers, and I gave up watching baseball as a child. Tommy Lasorda was one of my dear personal friends. I said, Tommy, baseball broke my heart when I was 7 years old when they moved out of the Washington market growing up when the Senators moved, and I've never forgiven them. I've never forgiven baseball. So I understand fan sentiment towards their franchise and what they care about. So it's not surprising to us that it was controversial.
We would like you to rank the following names in your favorite. So, seems like, what was it, Empire Kick 6 was pretty good on some of them. And then Empire Kicks was pretty good. Empire Storm. So we had a bunch of different ones. Season ticket holders like the Strikers, Empire Strikers. And I think it's good. It shows the demographic, it shows people looking at different names. This is something we went round and around as a staff, as personnel, and I think it's important that everybody knows that this just wasn't Jeff Burham making the change. It wasn't Seth Burham and Jeff Burham making the change, but it was all front office was tied in. All the players were tied in, and we've all been talking. Lisa Baird's been very influential in this whole process to help us, and it's been hours and hours and hours of talking about it and figuring out which way we wanted to go and what we want to do with this organization.
So with that, with our rebranding, we're trying to bring in, obviously, our fans' interests, our fans' opinions, and we want to see what we could come up with a marketing edge to it so that it can, we're going to spend the money to rebrand, let's do it one with has a marketing ability and a growing ability to be able to have new fans when they see the logo, when they see the name, it relates. And as you've seen, part of our fans have a long history with us. Go ahead.
What
So
city do
obviously-
you live in? Just trying to see the demographics of where people live. And it's good to see where everybody lives and where they go.
We don't expect you all to read these, but understand we logged every comment. That's what this is supposed to show you. Every comment that every fan made was reviewed by our staff, and it's part, and we've, to the best of our ability, we've taken this data, not only into the rebranding name, but when we restart with a rebranding, a recommitment to indoor professional soccer, because people are making comments about, we're going to fold it. They're just doing this so he can walk away. I'm doing this to make sure this club stays around forever. So you'll see some of the other things that we'll be showing, based upon what our commitment is. But I want you to know we've read every one of these comments. We've taken it into consideration when we rebrand and we relaunch. It's going to be at a new level. We're going to set a standard in MASL. I mean, San Diego set a standard in winning championships. We're going to be the next generation, the next dynasty. We're not only going to win championships, we're going to teach the rest of the league on how to be profitable. We're going to show them how to relate to their fans, and we're going to show them how to listen to their fans and how to look out for these players and create a culture of both winning and caring about people in our community like never has been done in this.
The franchise. So this is kind of what our goals are for the franchise. And you don't have to read everything, but number one, we want to win championships. It's a huge deal. That's one of our pillars of this franchise, is winning championships. And we were there, we were in the finals, and our goal is to get back to the finals this year. We feel that we've assembled the best team we've ever had. Now it's a matter of us getting back to work and fixing some issues from the past season and making this a championship team again. Number two, serve our community and really getting out to our community, helping the youth players have a dream, have a vision, have a pathway through sport or through academics to achieve goals for them and to help our partners in that community. Three is inspire local youth, whether it be through soccer or through Help the Kicks or through any area that we can get through to help them get through school, just inspire to achieve more. And then have a sustainable model to where these players can have a great living, to where we can afford to pay front office, we can afford to pay our bills, and we can do that on a normal basis. So how we use that with partnerships and sponsors through our community, and also through, our fan base. So that's kind of our four pillars of how we're going to build this organization.
Go ahead.
Previous years of the Fury, 3 years of net loss and gross loss in revenue, drop in ticket sales and fan attendance. We had COVID, which obviously laid into a lot of this, lack of sponsorships and frequent complaints and concerns from fans. I do know one big fan complaint was the boards, the glass being up around the field. This year, that is not going to be an issue. The glass will be down, except for obviously around the goals and stuff like that. But around the half lines and stuff, the fan interaction, that's key to us. We will have that down. We also like it down because we think our team is very technical. So other teams that aren't as technical, they can kick the ball out of bounds, which leads us to get more free kicks and dangerous plays for us. So, and most importantly, we want to have that time with the fans and the interaction.
So I want to take personal blame for putting up the boards, because Jeff Burham, as the managing partner of the company, made that decision for player and fan safety during the COVID times. I was already pushing the envelope. I want to remind you all that I was one of, basically 3 teams that agreed to play on the road with 5 other teams that got home games one year. We agreed to travel on the road and play every game and subsidize this team to keep this team alive for its fans, because I believe that just because we were in COVID didn't mean that people shouldn't be entertained and be able to do what they needed. They needed our team playing that year. And my Jeff Burns, if there's any year that I needed to subsidize that team, and obviously I lost more money that year than I've ever lost in a given year. Matter of fact, I lost more money that year than I lost in most 3 worst years. But if I was going to do it, I had to commit to why I was doing it, why it was important. And I think that's, part of what this culture of this new team is going to be. And I think that going forward, obviously we want the boards down. We had a safety issue with the ball last year. We had COVID still being spread. They told me I couldn't have fans in the first 3 rows if I put down the glass. And I thought my fans wanted more engagement closer to the glass, even if they couldn't lean over the glass. So I could have started sitting people in the 4th row. I guess that'd been fine. But because the ball safety and frankly, I got hit the year before. The ball that particularly last season beginning, my players will attest to it, was too hard. The year before, the ball was popping. We went to a new ball distributor that I'm not a fan of, and I've been very vocal at the ownership meetings about signing contracts with what I consider less than quality, professional level quality gear. And I think the ball contract, the first year and a half, 2 years of that maker was atrocious. And so I took a stand for my players and my fans. And so if people want to be mad at me because I put up the glass in order to protect them from being hit in the head in the ball, I can personally tell you, if that ball would have hit me like it did the year before, I would have been knocked out. And I wasn't going to let that happen to any of our fans. So I used COVID as an excuse to put it up from the 3 levels. And I thought it was the best safety thing we could do at the time. By the time we took down the glass, some of you don't know, the ball had changed. They'd gotten a new ball, and that's when we took down the glass. So Next.
So why the rebrand? The trademark issues creates an opportunity not to just rebrand the name, but also rebrand the experience. Allows us to develop a larger fan base and family. So in the past, we have had some negative relationships and we've had some things that didn't go well. And we just want to start fresh. And this is a great opportunity for us. We feel like we have a great group of young men to put on the field that are going to be exciting to see us play. And we want everybody to come in and watch these guys do their thing. It's a great opportunity for us to get in the community and rebrand ourselves as people that follow through and do what we're going to say and help this community thrive. And so through this, we could look at it as, you know, a negative or a positive. We really see this as a positive for us to move forward and grow this thing into something that this community and this area has never seen. So we're excited in moving forward. Anything on that, Jeff?
Nope, I'm good.
On the objectives, a meaningful brand owned by the Inland Empire. We want it to feel like this is your guys' team. You don't have to go to Carson or LA to watch soccer. You can come here. We want to have an impact that can work across all environments, in the media, on and off the field, in the physical and digital world. We want to differentiate brand from other from MASL teams, marks, sports teams in the community. A collaborative brand that can interlock with civic brands, commercial brands, and nonprofit brands, and youth sport marks. A purpose-driven sports brand that communicates team excitement, community ownership, and impact. A modern brand granted to the digital age that creates excitement, engagement, and the next generation of the inland empire. So we want to be very modern, which is one thing we've done is we've brought Seth Burnham and his team in that are young men and women that are excited to get out in the social media world because that's where everybody's living. And people like me, I'm a dinosaur. I don't do that stuff. I'm not on social media all that much. And that's a huge place where we need to get a ton better, and we've recognized it. And with bringing in this young talent that we have that are motivated and eager to change this world, we are excited with the new face of this organization.
So part of what, go ahead. Let me just, well, we're going to talk about the future. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead. I can do it at the last of this.
Inspiration. So we just want to show the history. We don't want to lose our history of the Ontario Fury. We want to keep it and grow it. And we also want to show the history of the Inland Empire and what it means. Style of play. We want our new franchise name, logo, mascot, everything to tie into our style of play. And we are dedicated to being the fittest team in this league again, and play a fast attacking brand of soccer. We will get up and down the pitch as fast as we possibly can. And we are here to put on a show, and that is our guarantee to all of you things. Symbols of the IE. We want to make ourselves something bigger and larger. We want everybody to know in the community, not just in one city, but in the Inland Empire, who we are, what we stand for, and to come and support us, and us to come out and support you. In the future, we want excitement and innovations for the MASL fans. We want to turn this league upside down and do stuff that's never been done in this league and make it as professional and as exciting as we possibly can.
So the history of the IE and the history of the Fury is very important to our brand, very important to what we want to become. And I'm one of these folks. There's a lot of people in this world today that want to rewrite history and forget about it. I think you learn lessons from history. I think when you stop learning and forgetting about history, think, you stop learning. And so we're not leaving the Fury brand because we're embarrassed of it or afraid of it. We're leaving because we have to. And with that, with honor, we're going to embrace our history and the traditions and the roots that where this club began, and how we were committed to the youth from the very beginning, and how this entire soccer team to me is about youth and about creating a generation and an inspiration in kids that these professional players can inspire with a handshake and a personal touch. We've got to bring the personal touch back, particularly after this COVID years and times. I truly believe you can never replace the personal touch, particularly that of an idol, of a child that looks up to them and is excited. So, as Jimmy said, the style of play, we are who we are. We're going to commit to entertaining. And what I know is more goals scored is better than playing a slow defensive struggle. Now, we'll know at times we're going to have to play defensive struggles at times against other players. But the fact of the matter is we're committed to a fast attacking, high scoring game. It's very important when we went to the rebrand. It became very important that just attached to the city of Ontario was hurting us in our growth in Corona with other youth clubs, from Claremont, from Fontana. So in order for us, if we're going to go through a rebranding, we wanted to embrace the entire Inland Empire community and make us their club. You know, LA has LAFC and Orange County's got the Galaxy. We want to be the soccer team of the Inland Empire, and we don't play in the MLS. We want people, when they think about soccer, to think about the Ontario Fury. That's their professional team. And the number 4, I can't tell you how excited I am about this. My son and his young group of warriors that are coming into this team are coming in with a new set of eyes. And I don't know about some of you older folks on the call like me, Greg, but I've learned in this life that we've learned a few things on this almost 60 years I've been on this planet. But what I can't learn is what those young people see with their eyes that I can't see. But what I can do is they're willing to tell me what they see with their eyes, is help make them become better than us with the wisdom that we can give them. And so they're bringing in a whole new thing this season. And I hope to God you guys will be patient, because we're going to try to unveil new technology, animated cartoons, songs, this. We're going to have interactive fan engagement, hopefully this season, with their iPhones or their Androids, so we can put you on the big screen right from your seat. We're working on animated, videos, introductions, you name it. We're looking for, a more happy, fun-loving, excitement-filled goal-scoring celebration afterwards with, you can't do anything besides lights on the indoor. I really don't want to do the fireworks, but we're going to try to figure out something. And we're going to have a new website. We're going to have new apps, all coming. I've actually, because of this, have invested in an entire technology company in Orange County that's helping us with all this. So we're coming in with ground zero with the best technology that we can create in the world. If we can't buy it, we're reinventing it here in Southern California in our backyard. Okay, Jimmy.
What our fans told us. We tested different names with our fans through the summer through surveys. They supported a name change and wanted a more exciting name. The majority supported a name rooted in the Inland Empire. Our fans believe a new name will lead to a new vision and a new team. We also consulted our players and staff, and they're all on board with this team, or with this change. Yeah, we've had lots of talks, and we want to get away from some of the stigma that Orange County, LA, these places, the Inland Empire is a great place, great families, great people. And we want to bring a championship to this area from everybody here in this community to be proud of. So maybe looking to change the name to where we feel more entitled is something that we can do to empower all of our people in this community. All right, so we've kind of gave our spiel. We've talked, I know somebody had a question about young players coming into the team. So I'll answer that real quick. It was an iPhone, so it didn't have a name on it. Last year we brought in 3 young players from UC Riverside, Hugo, Allen, and Aaron, that were on our Fury 2 team and then transition to our first team. A lot of the young guys always come in and they start with our Fury 2 team, and then they learn the game, they learn the rules, they learn the intricacies of it, and end up advancing to the first team. That's what Adrian Perez did. A lot of those guys, I think Pacheco didn't have the Fury 2 team at that time, so we're excited about that. We had Frankie, that got a game with us, that was on the Fury 2 team as well, so we are always looking for the young players. We currently just had tryouts. There's 5 players from that tryout we're gonna bring back in. We are having another tryout on September 16th. And one person from that tryout will be selected to come and play in our USA versus Mexico game at Toyota Arena on September 17th. So if you're a good player and you think you're good enough to play with the pros, sign up, register on our website. We'll put that link on the chat here, and come try out on September 16th at the YMCA in Upland. So hopefully that answers that question.
And Jimmy, I'll share with them, the MASL is doing our first college combine coming up in October, where all the teams are going to be looking at some tryouts on a national basis, where there's going to be our first draft. So there's a lot of exciting things going on. The M2 that Jimmy referred to, most of our fans don't even know that there was an M2 team in the league. Most of us have come and gone out of that. They tried it a few years ago, it kind of folded. And then this past year, a bunch of us, re-energized. Not all franchises still have M2 teams, but most of the bigger ones do, like us now. I like to consider us one of the better and bigger franchises in the league. I certainly think the other owners think so. Our fans don't realize that, and that's why we're having this call tonight.
Very important for us, yep. Questions? This is your guys' time. Willie Spur, he is coming along. We had some hiccups with some of his surgeries and stuff like that, so his recovery is taking a little bit longer, but we're anticipating Willie being ready to go for our first game.
And we don't mind unmuting some of it if you don't want to ask your question, if you don't want to type it. Just
Absolutely.
there's a question about more signings or any players leaving. Jimmy?
Yep, yep, more signings. We have a couple signings we can't quite announce yet, but yes, we are continuing to fill out our roster. Let me see, anybody leaving?
Well, I will say this, where we have back, very exciting for some of us that some of you don't know, we have had a P1 visa issue in our country, in our league for the last several years. And we were about ready to lose some of our all-star players, Clayson being one of them, Maicon de Abreu, who's on the call, tore his ACL in the semifinal in Kansas City. I want to remind you all, we lost that final game when we took San Diego to the third final game 2 years ago, when we were down 3 of our starting 6 players at the end of that game. And so this is the first season that we're going to have him back. I'm very optimistic about Maicon playing on the team this year with the new rule changes, or with the new P1 visa that we just got Clayson approved on. So we've been fighting the league, and I've been spending tens of thousands of dollars on these players to get their P1 visas approved. And finally, we got to be honest, we don't even know why we finally got one approved. Clayson was denied 3 times prior, and they approved it out of the blue. We're hoping that's a sign of times to come, so we can start bringing back some of the talented international players that exist in this world. It's not fair that American teams don't get to hire the best talent around the world on a legally approved immigration program, but I don't want to get involved in those political discussions tonight. But we're proud and happy to have Clayson back, and hopefully Maicon as well.
Yeah.
But looks like we are going to potentially lose one of our players because he had a child last season and he's moved off to Dallas. He's one of my personal favorites on the team. I begged him personally to try to stay and fly him in during the season, be able to fly him home on weekends every once in a while to visit his family. But he's, when you have a 6-month-old daughter, it's tough. And so they went home to live with their family so that the mom could help take care of them because they're young adults. And as you know, it's not easy when you're a young adult trying to raise a child.
Martin, thank you for the direct message. It's a great message. But we need to get you out to a game. So it says you heard of us through a podcast and you live in Riverside. We got to get you out and see the real life thing. So please connect with us on social media with Seth and we'll get you guys tickets. Come out and see us play. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I've got a question concerning the visa that you guys are talking about. Is that going to be a positive effect around the league? I mean, especially with, now we're going to have 2 teams in Mexico, and it's been an issue with these visas going back and forth, since time began, right? Is this going to be a positive effect around the whole league?
Right, I think so. But we start trying to understand it. It literally came out of the blue. I mean, we've been turned 3 times. I'm going to keep applying for the players that we want until, the Congress changes the law, because these kids deserve to be in our country and deserve to come here and start, their new lives. And if they commit to only being here for 5 years and leave, if they don't get renewed, then by golly, there ought to be rules to it that everyone has to live by. It's not fair to turn down the kids that want a better life and they're applying legally to come here, and we want them to come and they're employed and they're willing to pay taxes like everyone else. It's just a shame. I mean, so the goal is to continue to apply. The whole league is behind it now. We have an entire congressional soccer caucus, Greg. Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that. There's a soccer caucus in the United States Congress now. And there's about 40 of them on it. And they're powerful people. I mean, powerful. Chuck Schumer's on it, right? So it's some powerful folks. If they engage, you never know. They might recognize soccer, and these athletes that are playing out there are better than the average people coming in our country. I want them all in, but let's do it through a legal process, and we certainly are willing to do that. And these kids have been living up to it for the last decade.
Can you guys talk at all about the upcoming USA Mexico game on the 17th and how that's proceeding?
Well, yes, we can. I think so. At the halftime of that game, we're going to unveil our new name, our new logo, and who we are. And we're going to have a great game with USA and Mexico. We've put together 2 great rosters, and we're excited to showcase 6 of our Ontario Fury guys playing for the USA team.
Well, that's outstanding. So there are going to be some roster changes from the previous game that we just watched up in Idaho.
Correct.
All right.
We're gonna win. Greg, I don't want to lose. I love the Mexican culture, and I love the Mexican players that are on my team. But by golly, I'm good old USA, born and bred, and we're gonna fight for this like it's the World Cup final.
Nice. Outstanding, guys.
And we'll put a link on this chat here to get tickets for that game. We want everybody there. It's the cheapest price in town. Come out and watch these guys play. We put together a stellar roster. We have all-stars from around the league, from Leo Gibson and Nick Pereira on the US team. So we're excited about our group. We're excited to get out there and win.
I plan on being up there to see it, guys.
Great. And Greg, we'll have pregame and postgame media spots for you.
Someone said about tickets or something for the game. So, and the ticket prices this upcoming season. So I think we're going to go to a standard $5, $10, $20 ticket with Sharon. And so the ticket prices aren't going to go up. I think after a pandemic year, what we're doing in these inflationary times is I'm dropping the prices because I'd rather have fans in there and kids in there watching this game than sitting at home on their video games. So there'll be a $5 game day, and it's the best seat in the house available. And before that, there'll be better seats for people that can afford it, that want to sit closer to the glass. That'll be obviously tiered off. There'll be a couple thousand of those, but there'll probably be 7,000 or 8,000 $5 seats. So anyone that wants a $5 seat will still have a great seat, no matter where you're at. It just depends on how late you wait. So it'll be like the movies in New York, Greg, where you get to get the best seat in the house for $5 the last day. That was always me. So we're going to bring it to indoor soccer. New questions.
The Sharon, did that answer your question? That was about obviously we talked about the US versus Mexico game, but that was about our games for the season as well.
No, we're not going to announce the new name tonight. We want to make it more exciting for the USA Mexico game for our fans. And we want to do it with a little panache. We don't just want to put a logo up on a flat screen. We're going to try to do something special to try to show you with this rebrand to bring you a little excitement. So if you're not excited about the release when we do it on the 17th, then we failed. Well, we're going to try to show you our commitment to the future with a little of excitement with the release, a little build up, a little understanding would help with some of our folks, but we have the name. We decided the name last week, by the way, last week. Wasn't decided. Anyone else that said that the name was around and we were working the community, we listened to the survey, we've listened to the input, we've listened to the comments, and we have a new name that none of us knew until last Friday. So it hasn't even been a week. It's 5 days, 7 days, 6 days. So, we're working on the logo. The logo is not even done yet. We were working on combos. We had artists that were doing some different, logos to suggest. Yes, we have a color change too, that's coming with the rebrand. Completely new color scheme that's also based upon some market surveys. There weren't fans that we asked the specific color combination from, but we used marketing consultants like Lisa Baird, try to tie into, again, the history of Southern California, the history of iconic brands, what's available in our league, et cetera. All came into a marketing play. But I will give you this much of a hint. I wasn't real excited about it because I'm a Washington Redskins fan and these colors just don't sit well with me. However, I can't give you a little more than that, but we did have another hint will be on the colors. We did have a fan in the executive team room that was real happy about the colors. So that's my riddle. If you can figure it out, God bless you.
And we are still Hummel, yes. Somebody asked if we were still going to be Hummel for next year. Yes.
We're at least Hummel for one more season.
Correct.
You'll be excited about some of the new items that we're going to be coming out with. I will share this with you without, again, divulging too much into the future. But we are working in the rebrand. Instead of just selling soccer jerseys, Greg, we're going to show this league. You want to be a real fan. You want to dress like Frank Tayu, one of the sharpest dressers in the league. You want to wear something inspirational that he wears. We might be putting some of Frank Tayu's branded T-shirts on the market that you can wear. You want to play like Frank Tayu? I can't, but sometimes I want to look like Frank Tayu. So we're going to come out with a new clothing brand that ties into the club, and it's with a bunch of local artists, by the way, young artists. Graduated college. They're going to be rebranding inspirational messages. They're going to be putting our soccer patch on it. And then we're going to be able to use those branded marketing sports program with other companies in this valley that have the similar virtues that these messages might have. And ours will have the patch on them. We'll brand messages just for us, but fans might want it without the patch. Some other company might want to say, I love those colors. And then all of a sudden they got the Fury patch with their company's patch. And it's an inspirational message that they can buy into. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Wish I could share them all with you tonight, but you're really going to get on September 17th a real glimpse into the future of what this franchise is going to be and where the NXL is going. Because, Greg, I promise you, we will take this league back to where it used to be, and we will make it more popular in a technologically advanced world where they get to see the sport of indoor soccer, where you hear the grunts that you get on, a football field that we know occur on that pitch. You're going to get to see it up close and personal, and you're going to get better fan engagement than any time in the history of indoor soccer. It's going to be the best animated videos that my young son. So I will tell you this much, because we're not going to spend this kind of money, but my young son gets me on there with this animated video guy, Greg, that is the owner of the company and is pitching me on his product. And he's doing it, and he shows me the video he does for the Baltimore Ravens, and he shows me ones he's done for the Carolina Panthers. I said, just give me an idea how much this costs. He says, well, if you do the cheap one with only 2 cameras during the game, that's $400,000 for the season. And the Carolina Panthers went all out and they spent $1 million. I said, that's not quite our IRR we're looking for. It's going to take us a while to get that IRR paid back. I said, do you have a cheaper version? And so we have a guy from Ukraine that we are brought in that does animated. Anyone pays attention to anything I do in this world, I know my fans and friends that want to criticize me for what we do a lot, and they always cast aspersions without knowing me about my motivations. But I tell you, I do everything in this world every day to make this world a better place. That I know. Hopefully some of the fans of this team will learn that. But what I am telling you right now is we are going to do some pretty special things that is really going to make a difference. This technology is great. I launched an NFT yesterday for the Ukraine. And if you look at that animated video that we put out, that's the best. That's better than Minecraft. People don't realize that, but I know that because I was just at a technology conference, and this young Algerian that made that NFT for us and made that music video, everyone in that Minecraft that's part of those people that wrote those coders and those developers know who this kid is, and he's going to be hopefully working for us. And so we may not be able to jump in this season right off the bat with these animated videos, but I'm hoping to unveil them and through, because it takes a while. It takes a few months to develop every one of them. So we're going to have some fun with them. I think we're going to have fun with this season, and we're going to try to bring a new entertaining brand to indoor soccer that we're going to give the technology to everyone else, because it's about sharing. It's about growing all of us. It's about growing the sport. So any of the leagues, even Phil, it'll kill me, Greg. It'll kill me personally to give Phil a secret, because that mother has never given me a secret on how to win on that pitch or to sell franchise tickets and anything else. But I will even give it to him, because God bless. There's nothing like a future of 10 years of rivals and championships between San Diego and us and going back and forth. Well, let me tell you, I got no love for these coaches. I love the Florida teams and some of the players. I love the players that play on those teams. But, you got to choose a conference when you're out here. We play in the toughest conference in the league, right, Greg? We got the Mexican teams. We got San Diego and Ontario. We all 4 could be 4 of the finalists if the league was set up that way. So I'm fighting for that. So, that's my big issue right now. We're not big enough. We don't need 4 conferences. Most we need is 3. I prefer 2. I mean, what do you think, Greg?
Yeah, there was 2 conferences not that long ago. I think it worked out pretty well. It depends. I mean, if you can't have at least 4 teams in a division all the way across, then I like the conference plan better. I think when we're talking about how to set up the league, I think the biggest thing most of the fans are concerned about really is how the playoff format goes, and getting rid of the mini game and having a legitimate best of series. I think that's really what everybody would like to see happen. But no, I think you're right. I mean, with the teams here, I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard to evaluate where the teams are, because some of them took the season off 2 years ago and didn't get all the way, hitting on all cylinders last season, Milwaukee, Baltimore, until later in the season. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be fun to see how everybody comes back this year, having a full, off season, getting ready, loading up. I mean, some of the teams are loading up on their rosters, aren't they? I mean, there's all, yeah.
It's going to be one of the most brutal seasons ever. It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
absolutely.
That's why I want to make sure at least 3 teams out of our league, out of our division, can move on, because I'm sure that at least one of the Mexican teams is going to be one of the best teams in this league, at least one,
Right.
not both. And I'm pretty sure San Diego, the defending champions, is going to be one of the top two teams. They're going to be top favorite probably again going into the season, I would imagine. And I gotta believe our fans know that it was a fluke what happened to us at the end of last season. We're dealing with a lot of internal struggles. We started it when we lost Charlie, which broke my heart, but I was the one that let him go. And
Right.
I'm never going to share what goes on in a locker room because it's none of anyone else's business except those players that are in there. Greg, you know that, I know this. So I'm not going to be a locker room talking guy, but I know how to build teams. And it broke my heart when we had to let Charlie go. But the fact of the matter is he's added, he's always been a quality player. It wasn't because we didn't let him go because we didn't think he was good. Broke my heart when he went to a rival, but that's what happens in professional sports when you let people go. And so I have hope for the future that Charlie will find his way back home after winning a championship in San Diego. I don't think he's going to win any more down there. So he's got 2 years left. I think maybe after 2 years and us winning a championship or two, he might win his way back home. Because what I do know is most of the boys on this team loved him. And, I think that if he understands his life and what we can all need to go through and the changes we need to make and how we need to be good to each other all the time and put our ego at the door. And it's never about one of us, it's about all of us. And in that locker room, it's about all of them. And as we learn to communicate and build a better culture as a team, then I think people will understand that. And I think when they understand that and his team delivers and we start winning championships, they'll understand maybe there was a purpose to all this. Maybe it just wasn't an ignorant owner that wants to show his ego. Let me tell you, I know people with big egos in this world. I have a lot of them that are partners that both have made me rich and I've made them rich. But the
Right.
fact of the matter is, I just want to see these boys pull together and be a team.
Yeah.
And if they pull together and we lose in a final, like we did that one year, I was so proud of that team. And remember, I'm going to say it again, that final game, that last minute when it was tied, we were down 3 of our 6 starters.
Right.
3 of our 6 starters. And now we got them all back.
Well, the rivalry is outstanding. I mean, it's turned into a real serious and outstanding rivalry here in Southern California. And it's really kind of cool for me personally because, I live 100 miles south of Ontario and 30 miles north of San Diego. So it's, it's easy for me, relatively easy for me to get back and forth so I can be, part of what's going on up in Ontario, in person. I want to ask something. I know we've been sort of stealing this conversation together, but there was I'm noticing a question in here to Jimmy. No. It doesn't actually mention Jimmy, but what about the mascot? Is Stryker still going to come back as Stryker?
We will have a mascot. It could be Stryker. It could be somebody else.
How about if I say this? Does anybody know Douglas? Douglas will be back. That's what I promise you.
Okay.
How about that?
Right on. Right on.
Any other fans with any questions? Listen, you can call me names. You can tell me what an idiot I am. But as long as it's done respectfully and you have a question there, please feel free. Because by the way, because I don't read my social media comments, I've learned to be a little more Teflon than that. But unfortunately, my family and my kids do. So I know most of the comments that are from folks that are on this call that haven't been exactly kind to me and my family. So feel free to ask whatever question you like, and I'll treat you with more respect than you've given me sometimes in judging me based upon the reasons I'm making decisions. And that's how you'll be able to judge me, because I'll be very respectful and try to explain things to you, because I don't do things without purpose in this world. Can you still get Fury gear? I don't even know what we have left. We've been trying to give it away to a lot of the kids at summer camps. Jimmy?
Yep. We still have some, and we're still selling it. We can get you guys stuff for sure.
We can have it at the game on the 17th as well.
Yeah, and we are still playing at Toyota Arena. So just so everybody's clear, nothing changes. Our front office staff is still the same. Our coaching staff, we're adding to that. Everything, the DNA of the club is still the same. We're just simply gonna be called something different. And we're excited about the change. We're excited about the new relationships and partnerships that we can create. And we think that the name really gets down to our roots and the people that we want to support.
We have been fighting for weekend games, as Jimmy will attest, for the last 3 years. We've kind of got worse and worse with the schedule because people don't realize this. The Toyota Arena is the most used arena in the country. Second place is the one that the Dallas Cowboys have outside, I think it's in Frisco, Texas, where their practice field is. And so, but it has more people to go through that arena than any other arena in the country. So the reason we don't get weekend games is because it's busy. And unfortunately, it's busy all the time. But Jimmy will tell you, I am fighting with the city council. I'm fighting with SMG, AEG that manages it. And I've got some attention right now. That's why we got a Saturday game that we're doing the USA-Mexico game on. The first ones we came out with had no weekend games at all. So we're trying to concentrate on a consistent Tuesday, Thursday, so that soccer teams know what days they can take off, the youth clubs to train around so they can make it to our games. We're going to do a couple surprises this year. We're going to have a couple daytime games so we can bring in fans that are kids, because we can do deals with the Fontana and Chaffee High School districts where we can bring in 3,000 to 5,000 kids, and sell them a $10 ticket that gets them their lunch and a soda, all built in. Like it's going to be like, what are those called? Travel deals with the kids.
Field trip.
I used to know what is it?
Field trips.
Field trips. So it's going to be fun, but we'll only probably do 2 of those. But in the long run, it's my goal to do them for all the big school districts out here. Corona School Districts, Fontana, Ontario, Montclair, that they all get a day where they can bring 5,000 kids in so that we can remind these kids and these kids can see it. And basically we give them the ticket for free because the food goes to the SMG and the arena. So, but we want them here. We want to develop them young as fans and give them some hope.
And I think there's some other interesting things that we're trying to do to be as creative as possible. We may have some double header games where us and the Clippers partner up, or us and the Rain partner up, and kind of have like a sports extravaganza type day. We may also do a game where we incorporate a World Cup game that comes into play so that people can come in and watch a World Cup game and then come watch our game, or vice versa. So we're trying to make the fan experience as great as possible. We're going to add some VIP stuff where fans can come in, meet players in the green room after the game for an X amount of time. Fan engagement is super important to us. I know Mark is on the call. He's our sponsorship guy in the front office, and he's securing a deal to have a post-game party for all the home games. So all of our season ticket holders and big fans can come to the post-game party and meet the players and greet the players and have a meal with them and a drink with them and stuff like that. So we're trying to put everything at a better level to where you get to know who these guys are. Yeah. And if you guys have any things on fan engagement, we would love to hear about that.
We're
Schedule.
always looking for input and ideas. You don't have to wait for us to send you a survey.
Yeah.
Just direct message us better though. If you're taking a shot at us, do a direct message so the rest of the world doesn't know it. Just say, hey, we think you can up your caliber of your hot dogs. Those kosher hot dogs aren't very good. Whatever it is, it's easier to direct message. We have a link that we're going to start paying attention to on our website for fan input, for suggestions that the team will at least look at. Hopefully once a week, maybe twice or 3 times if we get lucky. We'll have staffers that'll be looking at it, because we haven't been the best at responding to comments that have been sent to us and trapped in space. But I will tell you, I will always be open to getting a direct message. I won't always tell you I will message you back, but I will certainly have it followed up with.
And our schedules are currently in the works, like Mr. Burnham was saying, it's very difficult to get dates, so we are currently working with the Clippers and the Rain and all their events. And then we gotta work with our league to make sure all the travel works. So I would say, hopefully early October, we'll be able to release our schedule for us to start playing games in December.
We're going to be able to hopefully announce here in the next couple weeks our opening game. That's my goal. So you know the day that our opening game is at home, because I'd love obviously to start the season right with a big bang for our club and our team with a big fan attendance. So the sooner we can get that first date out, even if it's ahead of the second or third, I think the better we'll do with ticket sales. So that's a real goal of ours, is to try to get out that first game announced here in the next couple weeks. We're going to start opening up after every game, autographs on the field again. I think that's a key part of being a community team. Jimmy tried to implement it for the last several years. Obviously the pandemic hit, but it's always a goal to be able to let our fans on the field afterwards so that there's an autograph signing session. Sometimes you'll have to be respectful though. I will tell you, after a loss, I've learned, it's been really tough for me to learn this, but sometimes after a loss, some of the players don't even want to talk to me, if you can believe that, Greg. So I've literally had one of the players said, you know, Mr. Burham, now's not a good time to give us that speech. So, but they will be there. Most of them will be there that will suck it up after a loss to still sign autographs. But every once in a while, you got to let them be athletes and storm off like warriors and be pissed off. Hopefully they get their temper and they come back out after realizing they've walked out on the kids, but just be patient.
I've made that mistake a few times, asking someone for a post-game interview, and it just wasn't right.
Yeah, it can be awkward at times. Cheerleaders. The truth is, we love cheerleaders. We loved them when we had them. I thought they had good fan engagement. The challenge is 3 years ago, California changed their law. And we're trying to work out a partnership. So if we hire the cheerleaders direct, we had to provide them insurance year round. And it literally took, you know, it multiplied our budget by 3 or 4 times for a cheerleading crew. So, but we have found potential loophole. We're going with a dance studio that might provide the cheerleaders through their affiliation, because they already have insurance for their people or their 1099s, and it makes us one removed under the California law, which allows us to bring cheerleaders back, hopefully. So cross your fingers for us on that. But yes, we're pursuing it. We'd love to have them back. Well, John, as you're on the call, LaSharon's asking about, events for adults. And John had a great idea in a meeting we had on last Friday for a VIP event. There's different kinds of them. This is a high-end one, but fans can also win entrances to them besides buying a ticket for a VIP experience. Why don't you unmute John, the doc, so that he can answer what his idea was that we loved.
You should be good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So as many of you know, in my professional life, I'm a certified sommelier level 2 Court of Masters. I work in the high-end wine and spirits world. And so we had thought about partnering with the venue space and some of the facilities there in order to do maybe a wine class, maybe a tequila class, maybe a whiskey class, maybe some kind of engagement with you, the fans, where I could come out and lend the 25 plus years that I've been working in the adult beverage industry and maybe pour some wines for y'all, or maybe some kind of beer or spirit or anything you guys would like to do. I've facilitated and taught educational classes in the world of adult beverages for 20 years now, in addition to working in the field myself. And I thought that might be a really fun idea if the fans want to come on out, have a drink or two with us before a game, or sip and spit function if you want to just be educational about it and have a little bit of fun as part of an engagement event with y'all. And exactly what you would like to see us do in that event is certainly up to discussion. So by all means, shoot us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
That's what we were thinking. And John, idea was we bring in obviously
some people might not know this about Jimmy, but Jimmy has an affection for Irish whiskey, our coach. So we might have to start with like an Irish whiskey tasting, John, or a tequila, because I'm, a tequila fan. I know you know scotches and wines as well, but the idea was to bring out some of the big sponsors, mix with some of the fans, some of the team, some of the staff. So it's a true VIP experience. You really feel what it's, to get to know who the big sponsors are, like Chris Legio that owns Mark Christopher Chevrolet, whoever the other big sponsors. Mike Rademacher is a big sponsor of ours that owns most of the Inland Empire office buildings. They're all good fans. And so we'd love to bring them in a room, show you they don't know anything more about wines than you do. But we have a lot of friends that think they know good wines. They really know the taste of good wine, but it'd be fun because John knows what he's doing and he's been doing it a long time. So wine and cheese tasting, a tequila and taco night, something in a VIP room, just down and dirty basic, but amongst a bunch of us that love soccer.
Well, whether it's a slancha or salud or cheers, I'd be happy to be there. And sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
So that's kind of the idea. We're going to try to make the experience better. I just ask you to trust us, believe in us, and all the fans out there that are mad, just try to hang with us. Just try to believe and hope that we're doing it for the right reasons. Give us the benefit of the doubt once. Everybody in this world should get a second chance. So if you think we've messed up our first chance and I'm not aware of it, just assume we have and give us a second chance, because I think you'll be happy.
Jeff, one thing I think we should hit, somebody asked about $2 beer nights, and we are very active in doing that type of stuff. So we've worked with the arena on that. The thing is, it's about attendance. We got to have a certain amount of tickets sold. So you guys want a Thirsty Thursday type night where it's a $2 beer night. You guys got to help us getting butts in the seats so we can help go back to the arena and get these promotional deals.
Yeah, so understand that on a $2, I think somewhere in the $5 to $6 range is cost to us, right, from the arena. So when we do a $2 beer night, understand I have to pay $4 for every one of your guys' beers. So I'm not real excited about it if I only have 2,000 people in the arena, and that 2,000 arena, I'm already subsidizing for the rental on the arena and the players on the pitch, $10,000. I don't want to buy everyone else a beer for $4. However, if maybe we have a threshold that it automatically becomes, we can do a $5 or $6 beer night, no problem. I don't mind that all. I don't mind not making money off for fans and pushing the arena not to make any money off for fans. But maybe we start having, big nights where we promote that if we get over our 5,000 fans, quick into a $5 beer night that night, and we can do a countdown on the number of fans buying tickets to the game. And if, you really want a $2 beer, we'll have thresholds for it.
Garcia,
Sorry, that's the practical business side of me answering that question, Jimmy.
I know. Garcia asked about more interaction with coaches and players, and we have talked about that. We've got obviously Philly and Penn and the doctor do our podcast. They're going to be set up in the green room before and after the games at Toyota Arena to be able to do pre and post game stuff, interviews, stuff like that with us as far as coaches and players, to talk about the team, our opponent, the upcoming game, post game, all that type of stuff, just to let you guys kind of see what everybody's thinking, and get you guys more involved in the team and stuff like that. So yes, we have planned on that and we are working on that. And obviously we'll have more snips and starting lineups and stuff like that on social media. So I think with Seth and his team coming in, they'll be much more active and involved in our team, as far as even at practice, bringing guys aside and having quick conversations or quick videos, just to keep you guys more in the loop of the everyday goings on of the team and the spirit and the camaraderie that we're building.
Billy, why don't you unmute Billy? Billy's our best voice. He should have something to say about this evening.
I don't know about best voice, but certainly loud voice. As far as the interviews are concerned, I mean, I'm lining a lot of them up at week during the for the preseason for the pod. I know we've got some new players that we've announced. I've spoken to a couple of them, and so we're gonna like obviously get their thoughts and their words on the upcoming season. And then I got a whole slew of things planned, not only for Fury, but I'm going to be launching about 10 or so interviews for the MASL as well, doing the insider show. So you're going to see a lot of content starting to come up as it gets closer into September and October. But the podcast, we're gonna drop a couple episodes before the September 17th game, and we're gonna get right back on it and just drop as much content as we possibly can.
Perfect.
We're excited to have, in case you didn't understand that, the Doc and Philly back. Panda, continue with the best show in the MASL. I firmly believe it. I think that we have a young, talented team there. And so obviously part of the rebrand, I will tell you, was very concerning to me because of, their name. I mean, they have history that I was concerned about, right? So it's not easy to change your podcast name, when you've named it after an existing team. So, Philly and the Doc know how I feel about that. So it's not easy for them either. Anyone else? Well, thank you all for